What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to do a bit of a story time about my first car sale. I kind of want to take you guys through what the experience was like for me and what that looks like for somebody in my programs. So for those of you who don't know, I am in the DART program. It's a rotational program through the dealer, so I move through all of the different departments. Last 2 weeks I've been in sales. The only days that I was actually able to sell cars were both of the previous Saturdays. The first Saturday I did sell a car, but it was a little bit more of a tag team effort than the one I want to talk to you about. So that one I think is a little bit more relevant to, me sharing this experience with you guys. So basically what happened was that a customer came in and was looking for a Tacoma. They were pretty enticed by the discounts they were posting online, and they kind of wanted a manly car. So I brought him in, we test drove the vehicle, went over all of the features, and he really seemed to like it, but there was one small hitch. So the hitch was that his wife could not comfortably get in and out of the vehicle, as this specific Tacoma did not have running boards. We only had a few on the lot that had running boards, and those were a little bit out of the price range for the person. And we talked about potentially adding it as an accessory, but the whole point of looking at the car was trying to achieve this discount, which the running boards would kind of erase a little bit. Yes, they would still be getting a net discount because they would order the running boards either way. In any event, they just weren't totally happy about it in the moment. So I saw it as a good idea to kind of pivot. Now, a short thing about pivoting. Pivoting is when, as a salesperson, you're kind of confronted with an objection and you're showing them a car and they're objecting to like a critical feature of that car. And it's your job to pivot and try and change the situation to get them into a different car then. So my pivot was the 4Runner. The 4Runner and the Tacoma actually share the same exact platform. They have virtually identical interiors. It's still a very manly car. It's basically a Tacoma just with a cab. So I told them that. I was like, are you interested in checking out a 4Runner? We have one right in our showroom. Let's go take a look. So we went into the showroom, we grabbed it, we took a look, went through all the features, he got a feel for it. We went on a test drive, he really liked it. The only problem with that car was that it's rear-wheel drive. He doesn't want a rear-wheel drive 4Runner. Who does? Nobody wants that. So with a clear problem established with the vehicle, everything else being okay, all we're worried about right now is the drivetrain, rear-wheel drive. Okay, perfect. We can attack that. So my way to attack that was to look at inventory and see what's coming in. So we looked at the 4Runners coming in, and luckily enough, there was one coming in a week identical to the one that he looked at, but in four-wheel drive. So I said, hey, what about this one? It's the same color, it's the same trim, it's got all the same features that you just looked at. Is this something you're interested in? He was like, absolutely. So after that happens, most likely it's now we got to talk about numbers. So I was like, I asked him, are we financing, are we leasing? What are the options here? And they honestly didn't know. They were just in a lease. They didn't totally have the best experience, so they wanted to see what financing options looked like versus leasing options, etc. So I was like, okay, great. So I went and talked to my general sales managers, and I brought them back numbers for both options. So a leasing term and a finance term. They were a lot more in love with the pricing on the lease term compared to the finance term, which is understandable. It's just a shorter contract. So they were like, okay, I think we want to lease. They gave me a budget for where their monthly payment wants to be. And there was a little bit of struggle initially getting over that hump of like the price. And I started to kind of try to vie for them to really more push for the lease, because the finance, they were going to be minimum $900 a month and they wanted to be maximum $700. So the leasing, we could actually get them at like $560 or something like that. And I continued to try and help them out the best I could by pitching them a higher down payment initially. I think this is a good idea for most car buyers. If you can put more down, it helps you in the long run. The difference between the monthly payment of the highest down payment and the lowest down payment was about $300 more than the difference in down payments. So their $5,000 down payment saved them more money in the long run than the $3,000 down payment with that monthly plan. So we decided to pick that. And then everything that happened afterwards was waiting for the car to come in, getting paperwork settled, insurance, all that stuff. And then the following Saturday, this past Saturday, they finally came in. They did a walk around, make sure the vehicle was, you know, up to snuff, and everything was as they wanted it. And, you know, we went through all that and they said, great, this is really cool. We really love it. So after they said that, it was basically done and done. We showed them to our finance office and we finalized the payment for the down payment, any warranties that they wanted. And then they ended up driving off with the vehicle, and I think they really enjoyed their experience. We had a pretty good relationship. I was outside grading customers when he was going to drive off the lot. So he ended up swinging by and stopping me and saying hello, like, look at my brand new car. I thought he looked great in it. He looked really happy. His family came with him. They were all super pumped. So it was a good experience, and I think both of us walked away happy, and I definitely learned a lot. So I know this is a bit of a longer video, but if you managed to make it to the end, I appreciate you making it to the end. This is just kind of to document what I'm experiencing, what I'm learning here. And for any of you who are, just getting into car sales specifically, maybe there's something in here that might be of value to you, that you're just, more so learning what the sales process looks like from the inside. But yeah, if you have any other video ideas or anything you want to, talk about in the comments, any questions about the story, please feel free to comment down below, and I will see you next time.